Hello learners, let's continue our discussion with the continental drift theory. Okay? Now the continental drift describes one of the earliest ways that geologists believed that the continents moved over time. Now, in the early 20th century, Wegener published a paper explaining his history that the continental land masses were drifting across the earth, and he believed that all of the continents were connected as one large landmass. And Wegener was actually convinced that all of the Earth's continents were once part of an enormous single landmass, also known as Pangaea. Okay? And according to him, there is a gradual movement of the continents over time. As you can see on the right portion of this presentation, we have these continents. As you notice, they are close to each other. But if we compare this to our map today, these continents are now already separated. Okay? What happened? According to Wegener, there is a movement of the continents over time. Alright? Now, to prove his claims, he actually presented different evidences of continental drift. Okay? First, we have the jigsaw puzzle fit of continents. Here, the Atlantic coast of Africa and South America appear to fit together neatly, just like the pieces of a jigsaw puzzle. So they are close with each other. Same goes with the other continents. They are close. They are almost fit together, just like a jigsaw puzzle. Hence, he referred this as jigsaw puzzle fit of continents. They are close, packed with each other. Okay? The second one, we have similar fossil plants and animals now found on widely separated continents, also known as Gondwana. Okay? Now, this map displays an early supercontinent or Gondwana, which eventually moved to form the continents we know today. Okay? What are those continents? We have the southern part of America, Africa, India, Antarctica, and Australia. Okay? Now, with all of these evidences, okay, that Wegener cited, the main question is, was the continental drift theory accepted? The answer is no. Why? Because there is no acceptable hypothesis explaining the movement of continents. Also, please take note, the weakness of Wegener's theory and the reason it was not readily accepted by geologists was that he proposed that the continents slide over ocean floor, in which geophysicists disagreed, stating the ocean floor did not have enough strength to hold the continents, and if that would happen, too much frictional resistance would be encountered. Somehow, it's impossible. The reason it was not readily accepted. Okay? Now, by combining the seafloor spreading theory with continental drift and information on global seismicity, the new theory of plate tectonics became a coherent theory to explain crustal movements. Hence, plate tectonics theory is the widely accepted theory that Earth's crust is fractured into rigid moving plates. Now, how do tectonic plates move? Okay, tectonic plates are moved around by the underlying hot mantle convection cells. Or, plate tectonics move because they are carried along by convection currents in the upper mantle of the planet. We have here asthenosphere. Okay? Next, we have the plate boundaries. Okay? So, we have three plate boundaries, and to better understand these boundaries, kindly refer to the pictures on the right portion. Okay? Number one, we have divergent boundaries or divergent plate boundaries. This is where plates move away from each other. Okay? Movement away from each other. That's divergent plate boundary. Okay. Number two, we have convergent plate boundaries. This is where plates move towards each other, moving towards each other. We call it convergent boundaries. Third one, we have the transform plate boundary, where plates slide past one another. As you can see on the presentation, we have here transform boundaries. So let's proceed. What are now the effects of plate tectonics? Number one, we have volcanism. This is any of various processes and phenomena associated with the superficial, I should say, discharge of molten rock, pyroclastic fragments, or hot water and steam. When you say volcanism, this is also the eruption of molten rock, the magma, onto the surface of a planet. Okay, that's volcanism. The second effect now is deformation of rocks. Now, rocks become deformed when the Earth's crust is compressed or stretched. As you can see on the right portion of this presentation, rocks become deformed because there is a compression or being stretched. Okay? Now, the forces needed to do this act over million of years. Take note, deformation is a very slow process. Now, it takes time to see this kind of rocks. Now, as the plates continue to move due to the convection of Earth's layers, rocks are continuously exposed to stress. Now, when rocks are subjected to stress, the rocks will eventually undergo strain or deformation. So what are those stress? We have here the three types of stresses. Okay? First, compression. Second, tension. Third, we have shear. Okay? When we say compression, it pushes together. Second, it pulls apart. And number three, it twists. Okay? Now, the three main types of stress are typically of the three types of plate boundaries. Alright? Compression at convergent boundaries, tension at divergent boundaries, and shear at transform boundaries. Try to check the arrow or the movement. Okay? Now, to continue, still under deformation of rocks, we have folding. It happens when one or a stack of originally flat, level surfaces such as sedimentary strata are bent or curved as a result of pressure and high temperature. You can only see this kind of rocks when this kind of rocks are exposed to high pressure and high temperature. Okay? Next, we have faulting. Alright? Faulting is a result of fracture or displacement of two sides of rocks. Okay, as you notice, as you can see on the picture, a fault, this is a break in Earth's crust where rock surfaces slip past each other. Okay, we have here faulting.